572-987-0971. Our Rev-Up office numbers are 572-0383 and 572-0215. Rev-Up St. Lucia, the alpha of radio.
Up next, Doctor in the House with Dr. Leonard Suraj, brought to you with the compliments of La Place Salazar, Ultramart, and Tapia Hospital.
Tapia Hospital Radiology Department offers 24-hour service. We provide you with X-ray, CT scans, and ultrasound imaging using the most modern equipment that produces the best images for your medical attention. Call the Radiology Unit at 459-2201. Tapia Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
Looking for a one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs? Look no further than Ultramart. We stock a variety of options from the world's leading brands, all at affordable prices. Whether you're looking for fresh produce, pantry staples, or household essentials, we've got you covered. And that's not all. Don't miss out on our ultra specials and promotions for a chance to win hundreds of dollars in vouchers, hampers, and special prizes. Visit any one of our 4 convenient locations today or check us out on our Facebook and Instagram page. Ultramart, your one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs. Shop smart. Shop Ultramart.
It's delicious.
La Place Salazar is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salazar, of course. La Place Salazar, Castries, Rosalie, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
It's now time for Doctor in the House, hosted by Dr. Leonard Suraj. Dr. Suraj, welcome back and good evening to you.
Good evening, Andre. Good evening, listeners. Good evening, followers. Welcome to Rev-Up St. Lucia, streaming live on 97.1 FM, on Facebook, YouTube, X, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Every Tuesday, 6 to 7, you'll be listening to Doctor in the House. Before I move any further, I would like to say that during the course of the conversation and discussion, if you need to make a contribution or ask a question, you can please call 572-9710 or the WhatsApp number 287-0971. That's the number. Last week we were doing a very interesting conversation. In our opinion, it was interesting.
We think so.
And I'm sure that listeners, some of them called, that they too found it interesting. It was about the misconceptions that we go through in the field of medicine. What people believe is the truth, and it is far from the truth. And what they accept to be the norm and normal are far from being that way. I thought I would have compiled a few of those and discussed it. The last time we spoke about a few things we touched on antibiotics, which cannot cure everything, but we feel that whatever happened, antibiotics. And we know that there are some diseases antibiotics does not deal with, and because there are, apart from bacteria, there are viruses, there are fungus and so forth, that antibiotics will not take care of that. So that is where your doctor decides at what point to give you antibiotics. And if they say they didn't think you should have it, you have to treat that with a certain amount of proper advice. And so we also talk about vaccine, a big topic, a topic that may require a revisit at some point, bringing the experts in it. But it is something that, and we thought that contrary to not popular, but common parlance, that vaccine does not cause autism. Let's leave it there. There is enough politics in that one internationally and so forth. So we also said that the natural remedies, there's a tendency to believe natural remedies always supersede prescription medication, and we explained that many of the prescription medication are actually coming from natural sources. Either it is from plant-based and otherwise, as well as having identified the molecular structure of the medicine, you can now manufacture it by synthesis. You can synthesize in the lab and produce them. So all these, we discussed that last time, and so we also mentioned about toxins and how you get rid of toxins, etc. We did mention cholesterol, didn't we? Talk about no?
No, I don't think so.
Cholesterol. There's a thinking that if you didn't eat fatty foods and cholesterol food, you shouldn't have a cholesterol problem. And similarly, if you eat cholesterol-rich food directly, sometimes it may cause cholesterol in your blood. The cholesterol problem, because we need to understand, first of all, what is cholesterol? Cholesterol is a kind of fatty tissue, fatty material that is floating in the blood. Some of them are beneficial, some of them are not so beneficial. However, as you grow older, you find that the cholesterol being in the blood in excessive amount over a long period of time can begin to make the arteries. I want to separate arteries from veins. Veins are just the one that you see superficially under your skin. These are the veins. The arteries are deeper in, and the other one that's coming from the powerhouse, from the heart, directly and pumping blood through all your vessels.
So are they veins as well, the arteries?
No. The arteries are arteries. It's just like you have your plumbing at your home. There is the hot water line. That's a smaller line, but tougher because it can take on heat. And the waste, ordinary waste, a little wider pipe, but a little softer. So the arteries are coming from the heart and pump blood in all parts of the heart, of the body. That's how you get your nutrition. The vein, on the other hand, is low pressured and it runs more superficially under the skin, and it carries the blood around for repurification. So that's the artery and the vein. But I mentioned the artery because...
thanks for explaining that, because I thought the arteries and veins were one and the same.
Or blood, start from the heart. The heart is pumping blood, providing nutrition through blood to the entire body. The blood having gotten to smaller and smaller vessels and down to the tissue, the average, like the muscles and everything. It carry out its exchange, and the blood now lower in oxygen, higher in carbon dioxide, and having some impurities, then leaves the organs, pass through, get purified through the kidney, through the lungs, through the liver, and come back again. So the veins are the blue-looking one you see, and the softer one. The artery are deep inside. Occasionally, you might find an artery getting close to a bone, and they call it a pulse. So when your doctor feel your joints, mainly the either by the elbow joint or down by the wrist, they're looking for where the artery is passing close enough to the skin so they can measure your pulse. So that's how they take your pulse. And sometimes they can't find it, and they go either into the what they call the cubital fossa, which is the junction in the elbow, or they might try to find it in your neck, the big veins there. You know, when they're killing the animal, that's a big veins they cut and the animal dies at the time.
But just to be sure,
so the artery and the vein, so they're separate.
These are two different things.
But the
let me
high
ask you,
cholesterol...
sorry.
Yeah.
Do arteries look like veins?
No.
Okay.
Yes, different. Because the veins are flatter, easily to collapse. And that's why you can actually, when they're taking your blood, they put a little tourniquet around your arm.
Right.
And the vein begin to build up.
Mhm.
As soon as they untie the tourniquet, the vein disappears. And so that's a vein. But the artery is more at risk because it is thicker. It has a muscle layer. You can contract and retract and open and close. And that is the genesis of your high blood pressure. Because when the muscles of the arteries are tightening, it narrows down the vessel and the pressure goes up. So many of the medication is to remove the muscle tone on the arteries to make it relax a little more and the pressure gets less.
Mhm.
So talking about cholesterol generally is produced by the body and being utilized by the body, the byproducts of which is gotten rid of through the stool, through the bile, and from the liver. So the liver takes it to the bile, and then some of it escapes through the stool and then through the bile.
Mhm.
But the cholesterol have lots of different subtypes, and some of them, by floating around the blood long enough, it begin to cause the artery to get thicker, and the thickness of the artery can then reduce the blood flow, and then you can get your strokes, and then you can get the heart attacks and so forth.
Mhm.
So it is the narrowing of the artery, and cholesterol has a role to play. But back to where I wanted to continue is that the cholesterol, I said, can be of a certain limit. It's not unusual to find that no matter how well you try to control your diet, your cholesterol is still high. And you wonder, why is it? I'm not eating any fatty stuff. Why is it my cholesterol is high? And the reason is that your body produces an enzyme. An enzyme is a small molecule that breaks down, that makes other things happen. It's like a stimulus to make a reaction happen. And so the body produces these enzymes to break down cholesterol from the bad type to the good type, and then get rid of it. But these, sometimes you lack the enzyme, and no matter how much you restrict your diet, your cholesterol is still high. So I am saying all that to say that do not be fooled by the fact that you're on a good diet, because most of the cholesterol that will cause problem is not a cholesterol that you eat or drink. It's a cholesterol that is body itself makes.
Mhm.
And you wonder, why would the body make a cholesterol when it's not good for you? But the body has an enzyme to break it down. It's just that some people genetically may not have all the enzymes and have different illnesses. So that is where the cholesterol comes in, and why it's important that especially past 20, 25 years old, you should be doing regular checks to see if your cholesterol is high, whether you have what they call a family-related cholesterol problem. And if so, then you must take the medication, and don't be too hesitant saying, well, I'm young, I shouldn't take it. But if it is high and cannot be lowered, then you should take your cholesterol tablet. So the myth there is that not because I eat healthy and I eat properly, I must not check cholesterol because it can be a problem.
Mhm.
So we must not lose sight of that kind of thing. There was one other another myth, and that is, you ever heard people cracking their knuckles all the time?
Yes. Mhm.
I don't really like to hear it. I always thought something going to happen to you, but no research has shown anything severe is going to happen. It's not going to predispose you to arthritis or any of those things. It is just a snapping thing because of the pressure in the joint, and it has no real medicinal effect. I always thought it had, but it doesn't. The research cannot show anything that crackling of your knuckle can cause any of those things. So scientifically, there's nothing much to say about that. Now, They say when you watch TV too close, it can affect your eyes. The fact of the matter is that it does not. What really happened, your eye can get strained and tired by watching it, but deep down in the back of the eye, it doesn't really cause a damage.
That's for television.
That's for television, getting too close to it. But there are other issues with cell phones, etc. And of course, there is moderation in everything that you do.
Yeah, of course, computer screens and so on, right?
And
so what does science say as far as not watching, but spending a lot of time on your computer and its effects on the eyesight?
Well, actually, the blue light is perhaps more of an issue, but if you feel your eyes are getting tired by being on the computer, you give it a break. But it will not cause you not to see properly. If you are not seeing properly, it's because you might be nearsighted, and you must get your eyes tested. So before you blame the screen,
computer screen,
make sure that you do a check on your eye as well, because the screen can tire your eye, and maybe the cell phone screen can prevent you from feeling sleepy and keep your brain active.
So where do we get this from? I think I've read that already.
What?
That watching a computer screen for too many hours can affect your eyesight, the quality of your eyesight.
Well, it doesn't. If it affects the eye strain, but not your acuity of hearing, because there are two elements.
Of seeing, you mean?
Yeah, of seeing. There are two elements to look at: the sharpness of vision, and you can look at other issues that you may have. As far as the sharpness of vision, if the computer should not cause that, it may make your eyes tired looking at the screen all the time, but not cause a damage to your eye, etc.
Let me ask you a closely related question. What about those bright lights from oncoming vehicles when people have a high beam? Even these days, the low beam is very, very high.
Yeah.
Right, it's very, very powerful. So what about that? Can that, because suddenly it does literally blind you?
That's a serious problem.
Okay.
Very serious. Because when the bright light hits you, especially people of age, when it hits you, you may not have cataracts visibly, but the lens, as you go older, it begins to compromise and begin to scatter the light a little more. So whether you are old or young, when the light is coming at you, it begins to create a beam that is very blinding. But more importantly, it prevents you from seeing around the beam. There's a spotlight coming at you, but around that spotlight, everywhere gets fuzz. Recently, I had a guy who had an accident because the bright light hit him, and he was near a curb and could not judge the edge, because not only the bright light at you, but the bright light prevents you from seeing the side. And it gets worse as you age. So I think this is a very important, but now you're seeing more vehicles with brighter lights and very penetrating lights. And even when they have these smaller spotlights below, they're angled in such a way that dazzle you as well.
Yes. So I know you're not an expert, Dr. Suraj, but what's going on? I would have imagined that you have manufacturers, right, who have to produce those vehicles with certain specifications. And I'm asking myself, would a manufacturer deliberately, or is it the norm right now that you can just have these bright white lights? Is this something that's normal, or is it you have individual drivers who are putting on those lights? So as I said, I know you're not an expert, but I was just wondering. I'm saying, with the new vehicles coming out, I wonder if this is something that the vehicles come with right now.
Interesting, Andre. I have actually asked myself the same question. Is it that the manufacturers are experimenting with much more different types of lights just to attract sales, etc., or that we are purchasing extra lights for brighter lighting, etc., at the expense of not being mindful of what it can cause. And of course, I must say that our authorities are not paying enough attention on that.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When I was younger, driving around, life used to be so different. You have one light that's not working, they pull you on the side and they warn you. You have a brake light that's not working, they track you down and tell you, you mustn't do that, you repair it within a certain time. But the amount of, one day I drove from Vifor to Caches on a Saturday, say like 7 to 8 in the night, 1 hour. I saw about 60 vehicles with a defective light, either one headlight, a shaking headlight, or a light that is a brake light that's not working. For 1 hour on the road, you see so many. Obviously, somebody is not doing what they're supposed to do, because we as citizens cannot be expected to be exposed to these dangers all the time.
Exactly.
And things do happen, because I do have people who have had accidents from that.
Now, I don't know if it's my age maybe, but I found myself coming across vehicles who have these bright lights.
Yeah.
And I literally have to slow down to give myself a few seconds to get back to normal in terms of how I'm able to see.
After they have passed?
Yes.
Okay.
I have to literally slow down and allow myself to recover, because it's so bright. I'm saying maybe it's because I'm a much older person.
I think there's I would not say old as such. What I would say is that the light hitting your eyes, hitting your lens, if your lens have early cataract, or even as you age, the lens begin to scatter some of the light, and it does not come as a pure beam into your retina in the back of the eye. As a result, it actually diffuses the light, and all you see is beams coming at you. But but around the beam, you would have thought that you would be able to see clearly on the edge of the beam, but the whole thing gets fuzzy. So you have tremendous difficulty judging your edge of the road.
Exactly.
And so, I have a minibus driver friend. He told me, man, when he's doing that, all he learned, he don't even look at the vehicle coming in. He just look for the edge of the road on the side.
I think I've tried. I already started doing that.
Yeah. But
this is something I think I will need to ask maybe one of the vehicle importers this question, whether the vehicles are coming that way right now, or is this something that because generally we don't really care about other people. We just think of ourselves and what's good for us, what's comfortable for us. And I just don't understand the thinking. If the vehicle doesn't come with those lights, why would you want to put those lights? And not just sometimes just one or two, they have multiple lights that they add on to the vehicle. And I'm saying, don't they know the risk, the dangers involved there for the driver?
That is where we are failing. Sorry. And though we might be deviating from the purely medical stuff, but the importance is that it has medical consequences. But what according to human behavior, you must never expect people to just behave themselves de novo. It will never happen. People will always tend to push the edge of the law. It is the implementation of the law that must drag them back to normality. And as a result, as long as the checks and balances are weak, people will always naturally behave that way. So to tell the fellas, guys, behave yourself, man. Take it easy over the weekend, holiday weekend coming up, drive slowly. That will never happen. Never ever happen. What will happen is that if there is a fear of a police blockage or some kind of unpredictable checking of the road, people behave themselves. And they don't, because they don't like to get charged, don't like to give government money for that kind of penalties. They prefer to give it to a friend.
Yes.
So I think that, and according to, I don't know if you've ever read that book by Gladwell, called The Tipping Point. If you have not read it, try and read that book. The Tipping Point. That's the point at which bad behavior can lead to an epidemic. And several situations were cited. For example, why is it some guys can smoke one cigarette, can smoke all their life and never become addicted to cigarettes? And how is that some are so addicted they cannot go to sleep if the cigarette is not by their head, even if they don't use it? And that is because it's the volume. They say you can smoke one, you can smoke two, but once you pass a certain number, you are more likely to get addicted to it. So, but if you just take one occasionally, when you get it, you take it. When you don't get it, it doesn't matter. So you never get addicted. And so the tipping point, as it occurs to human behavior, will be such that if you let a habit continue enough, it then becomes almost like an epidemic, and you cannot stop it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so nipping things at the bud is what is being recommended. And you can see when law and order begin to break away, the amount of things that happen. When you start correcting things, you don't know where to start. So that is that part on the lights and how it causes. But it is a serious problem. I do not know. And certainly the forms we have for the renewal of your driver's license, I think it should focus a little more for people who have reached a certain age and so forth, and also begin to protect the road better by not allowing these dazzling lights to affect us the way it does.
Okay, we'll take another break, Dr. Suraj, and when we come back, I'm sure you have some other myths to dispel, but I also have a few questions as far as what may be myth or maybe actual reality. So brace yourself.
Okay.
You're listening to and watching live on Facebook, YouTube, and X, and of course on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM, also online with Dr. Leonard Suraj, and the program is brought to you with the compliments of La Place Salazon, Ultramart, and Tapia Hospital.
Tapia Hospital's pharmacy is always well stocked to meet all your prescription and healthcare needs. We also offer specialty drugs for cancer patients and for various other medical conditions. Call our pharmacy at 459-2400. Tapia Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
Looking for a one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs? Look no further than Ultramart. We stock a variety of options from the world's leading brands, all at affordable prices. Whether you're looking for fresh produce, pantry staples, or household essentials, we've got you covered. And that's not all. Don't miss out on our ultra specials and promotions for a chance to win hundreds of dollars in vouchers, hampers, and special prizes. Visit any one of our 4 convenient locations today or check us out on our Facebook and Instagram page. Ultramart, your one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs. Shop smart. Shop Ultramart.
It's delicious.
La Place Salazon is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Place Salazon, of course. La Place Salazon, Castries, Rosalie, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
This is Doctor in the House live on Rev-Up St. Lucia 97.1 FM, and we're here with Dr. Leonard Suraj, the host of Doctor in the House. Dr. Suraj, welcome back.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Andre. Thank you, listeners, for staying on and listening to us. And if you want to make a contribution, if you want to add some spice to what we are saying, you can call us on the landline at 9710 or WhatsApp at 287-0971.
Let me give the numbers again. The fixed line is 572-9710, 572-9710, or WhatsApp 287-0971. WhatsApp is 287-0971. I'll be watching out for your calls if you do decide to give us a little buzz. Okay, Dr. Suraj, can I take it away, or you still have some other things and maybe I can use?
I have a few, but there's one, it's a short one, and that is, there is this buzz about organic foods.
Oh, yes, that's a good one. Mm-hmm.
And so people believe that organic thing is far superior to regular food. But the only difference is that in the organic one is that with organically grown foods, they don't put fertilizers, they don't put pesticides.
Right.
So whatever harm can arise from pesticides, if you had sprayed the thing with, say, sprayed the cabbage or carrots with certain
Roundup.
Roundup, and of course there are rules that after a certain time you cannot harvest after a certain time after you've applied these chemicals, because it will grow and then you can wash it. So there is this thing that the organic food is far healthier than non-organic food. The major difference is that the organic food has less of these the chemicals in it. However, the substance of the food remains the same. The conventionally grown food have the same vitamins, they have the same antioxidants, and they have the same carbohydrates, same thing.
Very interesting.
So that is what. So sometimes we follow things without quite understanding what it is. So, yeah.
But of course, we have to admit it does reduce the risks associated with the chemicals and so on.
Yeah, chemicals, etc.
Yeah.
And although there may be stipulation, do not harvest 2 weeks after you have sprayed. And if you really want to harvest, who's watching you? Nobody.
That's the thing.
So there's that standard issue as well.
Yes.
So yeah, you had some.
Yes. And I hope you can clearly air for us on those. Okay, so let's deal with the first one. I'm sure you've heard of some medical issue. At least that's what we've been told. We call it bless. So, what are the facts as far as bless is concerned? Because go ahead.
Okay, I will approach it 2 ways. I'll approach it and tell you that there is no single definition. In science, when we say inflammation, we know exactly what we are saying. In local parlance, when you say bless, or you say l'inflammation, or you say épuisant, that's your second word?
Yes. Yes.
These do not carry any scientific evaluation, and therefore there is no clear definition. One run into the other. If you were to ask 10 people what is the meaning of bless, you will not get one answer. You might get 10 different answers.
I believe so. As a matter of fact, we get it confused. We say the bless and the épuisant, two different things.
Now,
all the same.
Right. Being in St. Lucia medical practice for about 30 plus years, bless is almost like when you get a blow.
Right.
When you get a blow and there may be some tissue that has bled in the inside, no matter how remote that is, but there is a perception that there is a lot of bleeding in the inside. So they give you blessed medicine.
And what about the plaster? Remember we had a plaster?
Cataplum, they call it. The plaster,
yes.
you know it?
Of
cataplum.
Course.
That is, the cataplum is supposed to, it's an adhesive thing that you put on the skin, but it gives you the sensation that the entire chest is being put together. So when you lift something that is too forceful or some reason you strain yourself, then you have opened your chest.
That's what we've been told. Your chest is open.
L'estomac ouvert.
So is that a fact that
there's no l'estomac ouvert, nothing. Because you have, if you understand the anatomy, you have a bony cage that is from the back has a spinal, from the spine with all the discs, etc. And the ribs, in the upper part, the ribs come in 3/4 way through. But the ribs don't go bone to bone in the front. There's a cartilage plate, the sternum, and so forth. So these are intended for it to move. Now there's so much muscle and stuff in between. One doesn't get out of alignment just like that. If it is broken, then a piece of bone may stick into the lungs and cause problem. But you don't get a chest that is open. You can get a strain either on the muscle or in the cartilage, and because of excessive load, and that will take a while before it heals. Some heal faster than others. So no matter what you put, cataplum or no cataplum, it will take its.
By the way, these cataplums, are they still around?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah. Some for the back and some for the front.
Right.
So people believe in it.
So why? why would the you can get it at a pharmacy, right?
Yeah.
So why would they stock those things?
Why would they stock it? But if 2 or 3 people have asked me if I'm in the pharmacy, do you have cataplum? I'm going to stock cataplum for you. There's no harm. But you see, you have to understand the history of medicine, how is that evolved. It has evolved from days gone by. As long as humanity existed, there has been some kind of medical treatment, and people used to have the wise doctors, the bush doctors, and so forth, and they would heal you the way they can. But generally speaking, the body heals itself.
So when we were told, because I've heard that already, your chest is open. That was just
the chest is open because they believe in their mind that whatever you lifted has torn the muscle apart, and the chest is open. Well, if you understand how complicated things are, one can't just open and didn't cause anything else, because the heart is in a little pouch on the left side, beating away at 70 times a minute, 80 times a minute. And not too far from it is the rib cage to protect it. So if a bone is broken there must be something happening somewhere else.
So well, now we know bless is not a blessing.
Yes.
So the impedant or epuida, is it the same thing as the bless?
Epuida, no. Epuida is when you ate something that or drank something that was maybe has gone stale. You may get a diarrhea, you may get abdominal pain, you may get cramp, you may get a fever. So it's some of it could be, and that's why it varies. It could be an infection. Some people may have a chest infection, and the beginning of it, when you have a fever, you don't feel well, you feel a little under the weather, you had an epuida.
And that's when you say you've eaten something, you said?
Maybe you've eaten something that has gone off, or you've drunk something, or you're catching a kind of cold or flu or whatever. That few days, the epuida is there. It either resolves itself, or it becomes a cold, or it becomes something else.
So the epuida is something real then?
Yeah, it is. All these things are real, you know. It is how you describe it, and the way it is described is based on your understanding of the working of the body.
Okay.
Yeah. So they believe that something has made them wrong. They cannot pinpoint it one way or the other, but they know they're not feeling well. They have feverish, they're tired, they feel like going to sleep, they don't feel 100%. They had an epuida.
So you think that could be maybe food poisoning or something?
Yeah, some. It may not be a single thing, because we know food poisoning is very clear. The food has gone off, bacteria attacking it, and you eat it, so you eat the bacteria and it messes you up.
Right. So what are the symptoms of this epuida?
Epuida. Well, it again.
And by the way, as a doctor, what would you call it then? What would you?
Well, you try to see whether the person ate something that was off, whether they have a gastritis from eating something that was not proper, or whether they have a diarrhea, or whether they have a...
So, if I understand you correctly, Dr. Suraj, you're saying that these symptoms, right, which were being exhibited by certain individuals, especially back in the day, maybe the local doctors, the local health people, right, would describe the symptoms as epuida.
Yeah, and even you, the sufferer or your parents will say, if I epuida.
Exactly. And you know when your parents tell you something,
that until
exactly. So go ahead.
And so the definition, but nobody has said. You've never seen a group that come together and say, "Gentlemen, let us put some order in this thing."
Exactly.
What is an epuida? And that's what science does. That is where the hearsay of long ago, putting men's thought together, has developed the science. And science is nothing more than a rational way of coming to an answer. So there is no magic about science. A scientific thinking is a thinking that is based on logics, what you know, how do you get from point A to point B in your thinking process.
So do us a big favor, Dr. Suraj. Can you please tell us how to pronounce epuida in English and also how to spell it?
Epuida, that's a Patois word. So you asked me, epuida is a Patois word. So, and the more recent Patois dictionary, etc., since they have revamped it, it is more phonetic than genealogy. So it has actually lost its parents, because Patois' parents would have been French and English and so forth. That's where it came from. But they have cut off the French from it, so when you look at the writing, it doesn't look anything close to French. So Patois stands on its own phonetically. So therefore, if you say epuida, I will not venture to spell it, but you have to spell the epuida. E-P-W-I-D-A, epuida. You can check it, and you can maybe correct me on that one. How you spell epuida? But it is.
Here's how somebody spelled it to me earlier today. In fact, the person said to me, "Bless is not the epuida." You agree with that? The bless and the epuida is two different
Separate things. Yeah.
Separate thing. Okay, so the person is right.
Bless is almost like a trauma, a blow.
Okay, so it's a blow. All right.
Don't hit me so hard; you'll give me bless.
Okay. All right. So the person spelled it I-M. Right. P-R-E.
Impre.
D-E-N-T.
Imprudent.
Yes.
See, they're trying to anglicize the thing. Yeah, because you're trying to make it look like English. In other words, you were speaking patois in English. I wanted to do a talk like that. Speaking English in patois. No, speaking patois in English. Because this construct is a patois construct, fall I fall, and said in English. Fall I fall, I mean. And so yes, so the epuida, I prefer to call it epuida because that is how we know it. And we have to now spell it. And
so the epuida is some symptom or symptoms of something.
Of something that is happening.
And it's good.
But something is happening.
Right. So science hasn't figured out a name for this thing?
Oh, we have the name for the different things. They subclassify it and say, your epuida is that maybe you have...
Inflammation?
Well, an inflammation is a special word. An inflammation is a response by the body to a trauma, whether it is heat, whether it is cold, whether it is whatever. It's a response of the body to a physiological trauma that has caused a certain set of reaction.
Right. But you're not sure exactly what it is termed.
No. Well, okay. For example, inflammation. The inflammation is the body's response. So, an inflammation is associated with pain, heat, swelling, tenderness, loss of action, loss of function. All these are part of an inflammation. It's a process whereby the body is responding to an injury.
We have a call, Dr. Suraj.
Okay.
So I hope the person maybe has a little more to tell us on this particular matter.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
I had a person laughing already. So good evening.
Good evening, Andrea. Good evening, Doc.
Hi, good evening.
Very interesting program. Thanks for giving some clarifications on the different local terms.
Oh, okay.
For the different things that we suffer. What I wanted to just give a little public clarification on is the Creole spelling of Equida. Now you see the problem is, Doc, St. Lucians pay very scant regard to the Creole language. And they bastardize it with French, all kinds of English mix, everything mixed together. But Creole has its own, whatever they call it. I'm not very good at describing the different things. Semantics,
origin and its own,
and all this, its own language.
Structure.
So Equida would be E with the accent. That will give the A sound. And Pui is P-W-I, which is Pui. That's Pui. And the A-N sound is so it will be D-A-N. So it's E for accent going forward, P-W-I-D-A-N. Okay? So
that sounds
how
good.
it will be spelled in Creole. But in French, it might be another way.
Right. But you are describing it as it's derived from French.
Well, you see, we have learned over the years that Creole is broken French.
That's right.
But that is not actually in the reality. That's why Creole was changed from patois to Creole, which is its own language. Like I said, it has its own alphabet and everything. So the sound in Creole is A-N.
Right.
And the A is E-N. So so you can't pronounce any other way. Like in English, it would be probably, you would say UH for In French, it would be something totally different. So we have to make that distinction that Creole and French is completely different. While there are similarities in the sound, in terms of the spelling, it's completely different.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
But further to that, and a lot of solutions may not even be aware that there is a Creole course offered at the Sir Arthur Lewis for written Creole, a 3-month course.
All right.
Yeah, so I actually did that course. That's why I have a little idea
okay.
of what it is in terms of the Creole.
But it's important for us to know that
because it is our language, and like I said, we really bastardize it. I mean, since I know when I see people write things in Creole, I say, my goodness. Because it's nothing close to what it's supposed to be. Yeah. But I really love the program in terms of the different explanations, because you know, as a kid growing up, you've been told so many things. Bless only if we do. You have this, you have that, and it's good too, because at the end of the day, all these things are local terms that we've learned over the years. But it's good to at least have an idea of the scientific name. So if you could also give what it is, like a doctor would classify those things in the scientific world.
Right.
That would be great as well. So that we would be able to distinguish it for people who doesn't know at all.
That's a very good point, caller.
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Doc, you got what he's saying there? He's saying that if there's some way to describe it, then we would know, okay, this is what we're talking about. But right now, as you said there, it's those symptoms and we, meaning our people here, we're assuming that since we have these symptoms, like what they call the blessed and right? So how do we, because if you have, as you said, you lifted something heavy, right? You lifted something heavy and you did do some damage for whatever way.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. I mean, what is that called? Because we call it blessed. There must be some way.
It's a muscle strain. It's a muscle strain. You can get it either by lifting something that's unusually heavy, or you can get a muscle strain from something as simple as you driving your car, stop to pick up something or to get something in the back seat. And by turning around and bending back, you strain a muscle not usually. And you wonder, why, man, this thing is hurting me. And for several days it hurts. And you say, well, we know that you have strained a muscle, but they may say they will not call it equida, but they will call it something else.
Yes.
So I think what we are looking at is putting the logics behind what it really is, because there is an abnormality when they are complaining.
So I think maybe, Dr. Siraj, the folks back then, maybe because of ignorance, when I say ignorance, meaning we did not know better, so we decided to call the symptom by a name.
Yeah.
And somebody said bless at that time, and it just stuck.
That's right. And maybe 10 different people using the word for different reasons. So there is no uniformity into the use of it, except that, when they say l'inflammation, it covers a large area. When l'inflammation covers the biggest area I ever know. And you blame l'inflammation for everything you don't know. And so you find that when you're not empirical or very logical about it, there'll be a lot of overlap as to what you call things. For example, let me give you an example. They say l'alouette li tombée.
Yes.
Aha, you heard that one.
Yes.
And so the l'alouette is the uvula. That's when you open your mouth, you will see the palate, and from the palate will hang a little thing called the uvula. And that's your l'alouette. Many people believe that's your tonsil, but that's not your tonsil.
Yes.
So, but this little uvula is hanging down. Nothing is holding it. It's just hanging down.
Right. What's the purpose of this?
It had this function. I think I have had occasion to remove that, and people don't really complain. But they say generally from an ENT perspective, it assists you to sample or to approximate size of food. So when you are swallowing, the texture, if it is too not crushed enough, it will tell you'll get a feeling that as you are swallowing, that it's a little too rough. So you go back, you chew a little more.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So that is the only function it has been ascribed to. But generally, we remove it for people who snore a lot and who have other issues. We remove it. I have had occasion that it is so long, it's touching the back of the tongue, and then irritates the people, and they're retching all the time. So I just cut it off. Nothing happened.
Okay, so let's just for clarification, there are situations where people exhibit a certain reaction to a particular thing, and we term it, we've heard it as bless, right? But there must be some, you said it is a strain.
A bless, in all the times I have seen the word used, it's about a trauma, a blow, or fall, or something.
Okay, and we term it as blessed. Yes, but it's really trauma.
It's a trauma. It's a blunt trauma.
Okay, I got you there.
Yeah.
The other things, like for example, if you maybe you have certain other symptoms from food poisoning or something else, right? Again, the folks refer to it as épuisant.
Épuisant is basically a symptom of somebody who has had it's a GI tract kind of thing, either mouth, abdomen, stomach, that kind of thing.
And the symptoms would be something like what? You said fever?
Yeah, you may get fever, you may not feel well, you may feel weak, and you may feel no energy, you don't feel like working, as if you're going to come down with something. And so it's
so when you exhibit those symptoms now and you go to the herbal doctor at the time, back in the day, they will tell you, say épuisant, uni.
Yeah, and even épuisant, sometimes they can say, I ate something, when I ate a ripe banana in the night and I get a épuisant.
So, but when you think about it, Dr. Siraj, it's not that far-fetched. They were not wrong per se.
Because the banana may give you an acid stomach.
No, what I'm saying, they probably were not wrong in understanding that there's something to do with the symptoms being exhibited. They didn't quite understand it, so they just put a term to it, right? A name. I'm still asking questions there. I'm not saying that's what it is. So they basically, put some name to this thing, the épuisant. But because they couldn't think of something else maybe to come up with at the time, or maybe.
And remember, whatever they think of is based on their understanding of how the body works.
Yes.
because when they feel that their chest is split and they're going to put a cataplasm because they feel not understanding fully that the skin is a special tissue that's not attached to the bone, so it's not going to heal anything. On the other hand,
so the plaster doesn't heal anything?
No, the plaster keep the skin together, and because under the skin have other tissues, and if you have a broken bone, not on the skin you're going to put anything.
Because I guess they were thinking that if you put a plaster, that'll put the thing back together.
Yeah, it will not move.
So you see.
but the other thing I want to say, in terms of the Lalouette Tombe, the Lalouette, I tell you why it is. They believe that if you take the hair on top of your head and pull it up and tie it, then the Lalouette will go up. Now, you have the hair, you have the scalp, you have the skull, and you have all the brain, and below that you have soft tissue, and then you think that by pulling the hair on your head it will lift up this. It cannot.
Exactly.
But anatomically they don't understand it.
So do you have a name then for the epuida? Is there something, or I guess
there's not a single thing.
Oh, okay,
it's not single.
All right, it's not single.
It could be one or the other or the other. What would be interesting though is that we should go ahead, in terms of the culture, we should go ahead and develop questionnaires and ask randomly 500 people, what do you understand by epuida? For us to develop an understanding of it.
Yes.
Because it exists, it's going to continue to exist. What worries me is that as we get more sophisticated, we will lose these words and we will lose their origin. Because in time to come, nobody will be using it, and that is a part of your culture you would have lost.
So you don't really have a problem with us using those words?
No, they use it, and but in medicine you encounter it all the time. You have to figure out when they say, "Oh, Timo, I'm blessing you, don't be hasobude, you don't bless." So we know we're looking for the effect of a fall. Because no matter what they call it, we have to translate it to signs, symptoms, and anatomy and physiology.
Okay, we're running out of time, but I have two more for you, Dr. Suraj. I have two more.
Okay.
Can somebody catch a draft? And what is a draft?
A draft
in terms of what we consider to be...
A draft is a cold. They catch a cold.
So it's a cold?
Very straightforward. Draft is a cold.
But it's not the flu?
Well, it could be the flu if it's a virus or whatever. But you catch a draft that if it continues and become a full-blown infection, then you say you have a flu. But if it's a mild thing that just linger on for a day or two,
so, and it goes away.
It goes away.
But it's really a cold.
It's a cold.
It's not the, and how do you catch this draft? Do you get it from a fan? Because we hear if a fan is on you.
Well, they say that, but usually anything that makes the immune system drop a little bit and the bacteria acts on it, or people may be around, the fan may be blowing. Some people say the AC give them a draft.
Right, yes.
The cool and hot. Up to last night, my sister told me she got a draft. She was on the boat. The boat, usually the sailing boats, and the inside was very cold. She had a draft. So people say that.
So what did you say to her?
I told her, I mean, you're in a small room, you're around people, somebody give you a cold.
Yeah. In other words, if somebody passed on the virus. Okay.
And if somebody passes the virus on and your system is weakened, maybe the rooms in the boats were very, very cold, and she said that because of that she thinks she got a draft. But you can understand, if the hot cold, the only implication it can have is the fact that your temperature, your body is trying to fight your temperature when it's too high, when it's too low, fluctuating, and maybe lower your immune system, and the virus just gets
so the fan, the air conditioning unit has nothing to do with you catching this virus, right?
No.
Okay, all right,
no.
Got you there. Okay, so I have a final one, Dr.
Final
Suraj.
one, right.
Final one for now. Now, I've heard this already.
Now, regarding the air-conditioned one, let me put one caveat on that one. And that is, if you your AC is supposed to be serviced often, every 6 months. Now, if the filters are dirty, bacteria and things can collect on it. And therefore, there can be a reason why the AC, but it's not the cold that's doing that. It is because there is lack of maintenance and that kind
That sort of thing. I see. Very interesting. So a draft is really a cold. Yeah? Okay, we got that. Now, here's the one I think most of us have heard about this one, where parents advise their children who are about to have a baby. Now, when the baby is born, to squeeze the baby's breast. I don't know what they're supposed to be squeezing it for. I don't know if you ever heard that. You're supposed to squeeze the baby's breast, and that now protects the child from having issues where body odor is concerned.
No.
You never heard that one?
That's mission stay. You know what's mission stay?
Yes, I know what mission stay is.
It can make the child cry, and the child might suck onto the breast. I don't know, but I know of no such thing to make the child.
Yeah, once the child is born, the mother is advised to squeeze the child's breast whether male or female, in order to avoid having issues with body odor.
Oh.
So you never heard that one?
I cannot see the link. I cannot see the link between squeezing the child's breast after they are born to body odor. Some people have stronger body odor than others. That's a natural thing.
Because some people say the reason you have that problem is because your mother didn't squeeze your breast when you were born. Yeah.
I think that will have a difficult time passing the scrutiny of science.
All right, Dr. Suraj. Yeah, so that's it from me.
That's it from you, and I think that's you have not left with much time. I wanted to say a few things about MRI and CT scan, and because generally we think that get an MRI, but MRIs are good at certain things and not very good at certain things. For one thing, MRI is more expensive. MRI, if you have any metal, say like your metal implant, whether it is a pacemaker or whatever, you're not supposed to take MRI because the magnet affects the body and damages it causes problem with the metal. It can heat up the metal because MRI is magnetic resonance imaging, and the magnetic field is what it's saying about. And on the other hand, MRI gives you a fantastic view if you're comparing different soft tissues, like what is fat, what is bone, what is fat, what is muscle, what is fluid, what is brain. It's separated nicely. So maybe that could be the subject of another discussion.
I think that's a heavy one.
Yeah, so I'm just introduccing it, so when the time comes, at least.
Yes. So, Dr. Suraj, you may not be with us next week, Tuesday?
Yeah, I've organized for somebody else to come and do the program.
Okay.
And maybe the following week as well, I'll be out for a short while.
Okay, no doubt we will miss you, Dr. Suraj. That's for sure. And on behalf of Rev-Up St. Lucia and, of course, the general population, we'd like to thank you for your service, Dr. Suraj. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm happy I'm able to provide some service. I've always been somebody who would like to impart information and so forth. So I'm quite happy to be able to do that. Thanks a lot. And I welcome the listeners and callers. At least it gives us a sense of response to what we're doing.
Yes, somebody's actually calling, but it's a little too late now. We can't take any more calls. So we'll have to wrap it up, folks. This has been Doctor in the House. As you heard Dr. Suraj say, that he will not be here next week, but he has a substitute doctor who's going to be in studio. So thanks for listening and thanks for viewing. This has been Doctor in the House, brought to you with the compliments of La Place Salaison, Ultramart and Tapio Hospital.
At Tapio Hospital, we operate a 24-hour emergency service for all your urgent healthcare needs. Our qualified medical specialist will be on hand to ensure that you receive the best of care. Call us at 459-2617. Tapio Hospital, where the patient safety comes first.
Looking for a one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs? Look no further than Ultramart. We stock a variety of options from the world's leading brands, all at affordable prices. Whether you're looking for fresh produce, pantry staples, or household essentials, we've got you covered. And that's not all. Don't miss out on our ultra specials and promotions for a chance to win hundreds of dollars in vouchers, hampers, and special prizes. Visit any one of our 4 convenient locations today or check us out on our Facebook and Instagram page. Ultramart, your one-stop shop for all your grocery and household needs. Shop smart. Shop Ultramart.
It's delicious.
La Plaza Salazar is the true home of quality meat and deli products, selected and priced to suit every palate and pocket. We sell all cuts of meat, poultry and fish, from tasty lamb necks and succulent pork chops to lean dolphin and juicy top round steaks. Our deli items include turkey, ham, bacon, pork sausages, meat patties, chicken nuggets, deli ham and eggs, so that breakfast or that party is a breeze. And for your added convenience, we sell restaurant essentials and grocery items. So where's your next meal coming from? La Plaza Salazar, of course. La Plaza Salazar, Castries, Rosalie, Beaufort, and Soufrière.
It's delicious.
Rev-Up St. Lucia is located at Unit 4, Gablewoods Mall, Sunny Acres, Castries, St. Lucia. Tune in to us at 97.1 FM and online at revupslu.com. Call the studio at 572-9710 or WhatsApp 287-0971. Our Rev-Up office numbers are 572-0383 and 572